Hi, Sherry.
Hey, hi, Michael. It's wonderful to be with you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Tell me something about where you're based. What are you doing?
Well, right now I'm in the Baltimore, Maryland area in the United States. And of course, I do a weekly Zoom All Love gathering. Usually it's rather small, which I enjoy because it's more intimate.
Yeah.
And one of my regulars calls it All Love Light because I'm not really pushing folks to go to the depths. Right. In particular now, I feel like we need a lot of peace.
Yeah.
And we need to find that place that is just loving and peaceful. So that's my base. And I play a lot of music and I let people do their own work. And then we stop and we talk. And there are times, though, that I actually do get into the work with new people and with old regulars if they are really struggling. And then we talk. So I'm really loving doing this every Monday evening. I want you to come and join in too. It'll only be, I don't know what hour of the morning or night, or it'll be morning, right? Because 8 p.m. here is what there,
What's the 6 hours difference or something?
I think it's probably 6 hours difference.
Oh,
So
I can do that. I can do that.
All right, come join us tonight.
Right. So when did you start doing this work? Was there a reason for, or did you already do this?
Well, I had the work as in All Love, I got introduced to by Tom Rigler here in Baltimore. He's a fantastic Reiki master, very, very gifted. And he'd known Patrick for a long time too. And he introduced it through his classes. And then I met Patrick in 2004. And that was it. I was just sucked into the vortex of this All Love. I'm so glad that I was sucked into the vortex of All Love.
Wow. So you didn't do healing work before that, or?
Well, I became a Reiki master in 2001. And that was my first experience. So relatively shortly after that, I got introduced to All Love. My first Reiki master had been attuned by Tom Rigler. So I wanted to meet him. I felt that I was meeting Grandpa, and I worked with him for several years. It was very powerful.
Oh, wonderful.
With him, and I'm so glad that he introduced me to All Love and to Patrick. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, but how long are you teaching as a teacher?
For All Love?
Yeah.
I was not completely comfortable with teaching because I understood the depth that it takes to hold the space and the staying out of your mind and being in that egoless state. It's not that easy. And I'm not saying that you have to be in it 100% during every moment of class, but there's a level of surrender and there's a level of staying out of your head and staying in your heart that takes time to really anchor. And I did not feel ready to teach until after I was made a teacher in 2008, after I'd done a 10-day retreat with Patrick in New Zealand. And even after that, I was a little tentative, but I did actually teach my first class that summer for the first time. And that was very powerful. I guess I have watched myself grow as a teacher and have watched others grow as teachers as well. Something new always comes up and out.
It does.
And it's beautiful to watch people walk in, and even knowing them through being in the same area and having people come in and out of the classes and watching them come in rigid and begin to soften. Their whole being begins to soften, not just with that class, but becomes softer and softer. So that is such a joy. And to have seen people have kind of miraculous healings happen in one of my classes. in person. But, you know,
Yeah.
pandemic. It was shortly after Patrick had been in Maryland, I mean in Virginia,
Mhm.
and he had brought in the psychic doctors, what is it, psychic physicians? I can't think of the name of it. The ones that psychic surgeons. Thank you.
Psychic
Thank you.
surgeons.
Yes, and one of the people there had a jaw problem and figured it was a toothache of some sort. And I said, well, let's call in the psychic surgeons to help us during this time. And she gets up a minute or two after we start the meditation, walks out into the bathroom, walks back in a minute or two, and puts her hand out in front of me, and her tooth is sitting in her hand. And she said, it just came out, no blood, no nothing.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I went, okay, this shit works.
Yes.
One of the things that happens for me, I just can't help myself. What can I tell you? People will walk into I usually get to the classes first in the on classes with Patrick. And I'll be sitting there and someone new will come in. And I say, so have you done this work before? And they went, no, never done anything. And I went, and I just go, that evil deep laugh, like, oh, honey, are you in for it? And so it's like, oh, diving into the deep end, are we?
Wonderful.
You know?
Wonderful. And the most wonderful experience for you in the class, or during a class with you, or for yourself?
For myself.
Yeah.
No, there are actually multiple experiences. I've had my biggest experiences with this all love work.
Yeah.
I have been propelled into complete ecstasy.
Yeah.
And of course, also from that deep despair, from that grueling, screaming despair, I have been propelled into ecstasy. Yeah. In the last, you know, you're putting out the used to be called the goodbye meditation. Now it's called the Ascension Meditation. I remember doing that in Virginia, the last Virginia class with Patrick. And I went into a state of elevated spaciousness. And I don't normally meditate for over an hour and a half. Yeah. I was in that state for at least an hour and a half. And I remember even getting up and walking down to the bathroom and back completely in an altered state. Yeah. And it was the sweetest. From now on, I can do an hour's meditation. I didn't usually do that.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
And the last, I mentioned it on one of our classes online with Patrick. We did the Ascension Meditation, and I actually was saying goodbye to Patrick. Oh. And he was ascending, right? Yeah. So, you know, you go and you speak to that loved one on the other side. The minute I went up to the other side, I disappeared. Yeah. There was no longer two. Yeah. That was sweet. Yeah. So yeah, the amazing healings for myself. I think I'm a bit of a different person than I was when I first started out. Yeah, sure. I'm still a crazy ego. You know, my ego is still a problem. And part of me likes her, you know, she's amusing to me at times. I let her run a little too wild at times, but well, I still feel like the level of the soul coming in and being more in charge is sweet. And that's what you get out of these classes. True. If you allow it, if you allow it. And one of the ways is to go through. You have to go through all those different shades of ego and trauma and, you know, wanting and so forth to like finally open up to that no need space that I ended up experiencing in my first class ever with that.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's one of the things that I use in class is using the question, are you allowing yourself to be loved?
Yeah. This makes doing this work so sweet, and
It does.
truly is an honor. It truly
It
is
is.
an honor.
It is.
And it's a deep, deep responsibility,
It
because
really-
I've watched myself in classes be triggered by what is going on as the teacher. And like, it's great when you're not the teacher,
Yeah.
but when you're the teacher, you got to set all that reactionary stuff aside and just
Exactly.
let me meet you. And I've told you this before, you know, being in a class with this man screaming this close to Patrick's face,
Mhm.
and all he did was go deeper. And he went into a complete, powerful healing because he
Yeah.
was able to go
It's
deeper.
about- Again, about allowing things to happen.
Yes, yes, indeed.
What happens after a class?
Well, for me and my little ego,
Yeah.
I have the party's over syndrome. So I just grieve that I'm not still in that intimacy that happens in class.
Mm.
This is, of course, with the in-person classes. It's when I'm teaching the class, I have a tendency to be high for hours, if not a day or so after the class. I'm in an elevated state.
Yeah.
When I've been doing the emotional work myself in one of Patrick's classes, that's when I go into the party's over. That's when I grieve the lack of that, you know, God, to live in that kind of support all the time. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think we should create a family and have a place somewhere. We'll all move there. We probably would hate each other and throw things and stuff too, but
It might
I
work.
mean, it might. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah. How many classes do you do
Every week.
every week? Okay.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every Monday night.
Yeah.
I have been doing the All Love class
Oh, wonderful.
on Zoom. And people can find me on Facebook, Sherry Teagle, Sherry, T as in Tom, UEGEL. I don't know whether you'll put something up.
I will
And
find
my
it.
website is body-beloved.com. And contacts are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people can get in touch with me, and you can private message me on Facebook for the links. I'm not, I've learned that it's not a good idea to put links on Facebook.
Oh.
Not a good idea. So.
Do you sometimes advise people things after classes, what they can do after the class to just get in touch with the energy again? Or do you use meditations? Do you have your own meditations? Or
Actually, I warn people that stuff can come up and to please call me, because I'd rather work with them individually with what's going on. I haven't really, I haven't given people too much homework. I've occasionally done it, and I'm sitting here trying to remember. It's been so long since I've done that.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've given people homework. Yeah.
Well, for example, you can guide them to YouTube to
Oh,
listen to
yes.
meditation, or you know, things like that,
Right.
little things like that.
And I do give them a piece of paper with that information about where to find the fabulous
Yeah, we do
YouTube
too.
stuff,
Yeah.
and your music. I listen to your music once or twice every day. It
Oh, wow.
plays
Wow.
in my house. It's part of my morning music that comes on.
I'm very
Patrick.
grateful.
Patrick was surprised. He was like, because I just do the music part, not the speaking part. And he's like off doing his morning something or another. And he says, "What? I'm hearing all love." I said, "That's right, Patrick. Every morning."
Oh, great. Wonderful. Do you have any advice for people?
Well, I certainly encourage people to experience the all love energy and come to a class.
Yeah.
Listen to the YouTubes that are on your and Patrick's site.
Yeah.
And watch some of the videos of that one video from Spain. I think really does give the flavor of what an all love class is like. The main thing that I would tell people is get out of your head and get into your heart.
Oh, wonderful.
It's been said before, and it's good to be said.
Yeah.
And I follow this fellow named Matt Kahn. He's an interesting soul into the Ascension and all this. And I've been to a class of his, a retreat of his, and he called it in the beginning the love revolution. And
Yeah.
he basically said that the more we say I love you to our own hearts, the more the world will change. And whenever I feel stress, I say, I love you, Sherry. I love you, Sherry. I love you. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I love you. I have always loved you. I will always love you. Is a powerful thing. Powerful.